The 2020-21 Premier League season is less than 1 week away, so why not make a predictions video? That way 9 months from now, I'll make another video reacting to these predictions and see how I did. Right, let's go. 20th, West Brom. Ah yes, good old ketchup and mustard. A spitting image of Norwich City. But seriously, West Brom, are you even alive? Ever since the transfer window started, it seems like you've been hiding in a bunker afraid to come out. Or maybe they left their f***ing wallet back in the championship. Just spend some money. Do something. It is painfully critical for a newly promoted club to spend big to survive in the top flight. And West Brom have basically walked into a Costco, ate all the free samples, and left. With a squad full of lower league sludge, they might even get less points than Norwich Bastard City. Just an absolute disastrous summer for West Brom. 19th, Aston Villa. They stayed up by the skin of their teeth last season, but only for what? 38 more games? I'm sorry, but resting your hopes and dreams in the hands of Jack Grealish and Tyrone Mings are about as hopeful as Edwin Diaz in a save situation. Don't get me wrong, Aston Villa are a huge club. They have a lot of potential, but they don't have the players, and Dean Smith is a championship standard coach. I mean, while Jack Grealish and Tyrone Mings are decent players, they would not sniff near a start at Anfield or the Etihad. You've lost your goalkeeper. I think right now Villa fans would rather jump off a cliff. 18th, Fulham. The only thing Fulham had on their side was momentum. West Brom and Aston Villa ended their seasons last year with draws against QPR and West Ham, who both have the firepower of a broken toaster. Fulham came up through the playoffs all because of a man named Joe Bryan, their left back. And as great as that is, your left back shouldn't be scoring your goals, and Fulham right now are in a state of major limbo. Just like West Brom, Fulham have hid in the closet during the transfer window, which is a newly promoted club, again, should not be doing. I mean, look at Leeds. They're going on a shopping spree, spending loads and loads of money to survive in the top flight, while Fulham are shopping for players on the McDonald's dollar menu. Your Golden Boot winners' injury woes are still unknown, and they haven't even released their uniforms yet. Plus, with the same squad that got you relegated 2 years ago, history will definitely repeat itself, and worst of all, you don't even seem ready to start the season. 17th, Crystal Palace. If Wilfried Zaha leaves the club, they are But I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible with these predictions, so with that being said, if Zaha stays for yet another season, they'll still be in a relegation scrap. They just are. He will be the only reason Palace survives relegation. I mean, something needs to change, because Crystal Palace are a glorified championship club with a £100 million player who doesn't deserve to be there. And with the likes of Benteke, Sakho, and Cahill all past their primes, Palace's future seems about as miserable as living in North Korea. I mean, at least your uniforms look nice. 16th, West Ham. I mean, let's start off with the fact that your delusional ass owners think this squad is Champions League caliber. As far as I'm concerned, this squad can't even hit the side of a barn if their life depended on it. I mean, their marquee transfer last season was Jarrett Bowen, who previously played for Hull City, who just collapsed all the way down to League One. West Ham will once again be in a relegation scrap, just like Crystal Palace. They just are. There's no way around it. There's no argument with it. Because the owners demand a top 4 finish, but their squad is full of England's finest lower league Christmas leftovers. 15th, Newcastle. As much as it pains me to say this because I hate him so much, Steve Bruce belongs in the top flight. He is without a doubt a Premier League standard manager. Gotta give credit where credit is due. But football under this guy is enough to bring a grown man to tears. With him under the helm, Mike Ashley dragging the team down, and an owner who wants nothing more than to sell the club and get the hell out of there, Newcastle will still be a below-average club, like they always are. The new Saudi owners were supposed to save this club and turn things around, but they backed out in July, struggles continue yet again, and Joe Linton is wearing your number 9 shirt. 14th, Brighton. I agree that Brighton aren't a mid-table club, but they're nowhere near relegation. Signing the likes of Adam Lallana and re-signing Lewis Dunk and Ben White will definitely keep this club in a consistent state of average, stale-ass football. But don't get me wrong, that boring, stale style of football is pretty damn good. But we've seen with Norwich and Bournemouth that a pretty style of football can totally be deceiving. Expecting fancy dribblings, good ball movement, and breathtaking strikes into the top corner can quickly turn into complete and total spontaneous combustion. 13th, Leeds. Okay, I will admit, they're not going to finish top half, but they aren't going to struggle that bad to be in a relegation scrap. Marcelo Bielsa is a great coach of a squad with unlimited potential. Yes, their first game back after 16 years in the wilderness is against the champions of England. but they are preparing for a nice long stay in the Premier League, spending big over the transfer window. A team led by their big three of Liam Cooper, Luke Ayling, and Calvin Phillips, plus the marquee signing of Rodrigo from Valencia. Yes, he did only score 4 goals last season, but this would definitely constitute a mid-table finish for sure. 12th, Southampton. Last season was probably the greatest turnaround in Premier League history and one of the greatest turnarounds in the sport. I mean, usually if a team loses 9-0 at home and winding up second bottom of the league, their manager would have been sacked at halftime. But Ralph Hasenhüttl has completely turned this team around. Danny Ings had the season of his life and proved he can play when healthy. But I'm still not convinced of a top half finish, but 12th would still be a good season for them. 11th, Sheffield United. I don't think Sheffield will suffer from second season syndrome, but losing Dean Henderson will definitely hurt this team a lot. Last season they finished 9th, knocking on the door of Europe all season long, and I think they'll still be a mid-table club. But they'll probably get knocked down a few pegs. I mean, if we look back at last season, no one thought they were going to stay up after signing a guy like Ollie McBurney for £40 million. A minor step backwards never really hurt anyone, and I don't think Sheffield United are going anywhere. 10th, Everton. I feel like Everton are slowly turning into Aston Villa. I'm not saying they're going to get relegated, but they're a huge club with stacks of cash up to the moon, and they're severely underperforming. Last season was rough. But on the bright side, they did land James Rodriguez, who might be past his prime, but having a veteran player who's played alongside Cristiano Ronaldo and Robert Lewandowski over the past 5 years will definitely be a huge help for a club with a world-class coach who, quite frankly, needs better players. 9th, Burnley. Burnley have completely turned into Stoke, finishing mid-table every season and playing football that is about as exciting as Bill Belichick's face on any given day. Nick Pope is becoming a world-class keeper. He got called up to the England squad. Tarkowski is a solid defender, and it will be another season of stale but extremely aggressive football, but another mid-table solid finish for Burnley, knocking on the door of Europe once again. 8th, Leicester. This will be a massive step backwards for Leicester City. Last season they were in second, 14 points clear in the top 4 before the pandemic hit, and they stumbled all the way down to 5th, falling out of one of the qualifying spots for the Champions League. I mean, let's not forget that this club somehow won the league 4 years ago, with certain players aging faster than Brad Pitt. Yes, Jamie Vardy did win the Golden Boot last season, but 1, they were mostly from penalties, and 2, the man is now 34 years old. Really, only Messi and Ronaldo could be that age and stay in prime form. Plus, there is a chance we'll see Brendan Rodgers get sacked by Christmas because this club is slowly going in the wrong direction. 7th, Wolves. With a third straight season in 7th place, Wolves would hit the jackpot, as Wolves fans are at the same time crying into their pillow because they didn't crack the top 4 again. But looking back on previous years, this is still a good season. A lot of people are forgetting the fact that Wolves only came out of the championship 2 seasons ago, and being this consistent in qualifying for Europe seems very easy for them, when in reality, most promoted teams usually head straight back down. The Europa League, however, will once again take its toll on Wolves. They've lost their right back, and they might even lose some of their star players at any point during the season. 6th, Arsenal. We see this all the time in college basketball. Just because Kansas won the Maui Invitational doesn't mean they're the national champions, and it's far from guaranteed. Since the end of an abysmal season for Arsenal, they won the FA Cup against an injured 10-man Chelsea and barely won a glorified exhibition game on penalties against Liverpool, where Trent Alexander-Arnold and Jordan Henderson didn't even play. Yes, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is a top-notch striker, one of the best in the world. The rest of their attack is a solid Premier League standard squad, but their defense has about as much success as Plankton trying to get the Krabby Patty secret formula. It's going to take time for Arsenal to come together and win consistently. But just like Wolves, weekly 6-hour flights to Kazakhstan and Estonia will definitely wear these players out, and it will affect them during the season. And David Luiz in the back is literally a gaping hole for any attackers to come in and get a free shot at Bernd Leno. 5th, Tottenham. Yes, I know they didn't perform up to expectations last season, but Jose Mourinho is one of the best managers in the world. I know they haven't been the most involved this transfer window, but Tottenham are not done at all, and their players still have some years left. Harry Kane will contest for the Golden Boot, Heung-min Son is a solid attacker, and Matt Doherty will be a decent replacement for Jan Vertonghen. Last season was just a bad season. Nobody's perfect, you have your bad years, and yeah, they probably won't qualify for the Champions League, but they'll still be a top 5 team because they're a world-class squad, they could do some serious damage in the Europa League, and there is a chance they might sign Gareth Bale. 4th, Man United. A lot of people were wrong about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but If you're hiring the man responsible for Cardiff's relegation, heads will tilt in confusion, as they should. The Jadon Sancho deal completely fell flat on its face, as well as your pipe dream attempts to land Lionel Messi. However, this team will be a real threat in a few years, with David De Gea getting old and obsolete. Permanently signing Dean Henderson was huge, and winning a transfer battle with Barcelona to get Donny van de Beek was another successful move. Someone like Bruno Fernandes is rapidly becoming one of the best midfielders in the league, but I feel without Sancho it kind of shocked the team and knocked them back a few pegs, and I think fourth's a good spot for them. Third, Man City. Yep, I went there. Listen, hear me out. Man City play an unbelievably amazing style of football. Pep Guardiola is one of the greatest managers to ever breathe air. And they currently have the best player in the league, who also, without question, is the best midfielder in the world. But the events that transpired over the past 365 days say otherwise. Falling almost 20 bastard points behind Liverpool in the league table, signing average players from relegated and struggling clubs, losing your wide open shot at signing the world's greatest footballer, and losing a third consecutive Champions League quarter-final to a bunch of French farmers from Lyon, who, by the way, finished 7th in the French league. Second, Chelsea. This is what happens when you cancel Roman Abramovich's credit card, and I'm not surprised. 2 years ago, Chelsea were given the transfer ban, which threw them off completely. Usually every summer, Chelsea are spending millions and millions of pounds to sign the world's greatest footballers, while instead they watched Eden Hazard walk to Real Madrid, while all they could do was call up a guy like Mason Mount from their reserves. Now, don't get me wrong, Mason Mount is a solid footballer, but for someone like him, this is a dream come true, because usually he would have been chucked off on loan for the next 5 or 6 years. What we saw this summer was basically like an alcoholic coming home from rehab and celebrating with a glass of champagne. But signing Thiago Silva, Ben Chilwell, Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, Hakim Ziyech, do I need to keep going? On paper, this team could eat Man City for f***ing breakfast, and Frank Lampard is going to have an absolute field day this season. First, Liverpool. No matter how many players Chelsea sign, or how beautiful Man City plays, Liverpool will still rank supreme in this country. Just look at their starting 11. Every position is filled with arguably the best player in the world at their respective position. Alisson Becker, Virgil van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Andy Robertson, Mo Salah, Sadio Mane. Also, not to mention, the defending Premier League Player of the Year and a center forward who almost scored 20 goals last season. Jurgen Klopp and his Liverpool squad will probably repeat their title. They really haven't had any massive transfer blows, aside from maybe losing Gini Wijnaldum. They lost Adam Lallana, who is not what he used to be. And if they can land Thiago Alcantara, it is game over. Alright guys, that's going to be it for my 2020-21 Premier League predictions. In a few days I'll upload another video with my championship predictions, which will be way harder. And 9 months from now, when both seasons end, I'll make 2 separate videos reacting to both sets of predictions and see how we did. So, hope you guys did enjoy the video. Thank you all for watching. Remember to subscribe, leave a like, and I'll see you guys later.